What's up, everyone? Mario here. I want to get into this topic of splitting date costs. I think this is something that has been coming up time and time again in some of my dating groups, and I wanted to fully address it. So what I thought I would do for you is give you 5 reasons why you as women should consider splitting the costs of dating. Something very confusing, and I understand that. And I made a previous video about this I talked about how, who should pay for a date. And I'll give you a quick rundown. I think whoever asks should pay for the date. I think they should expect to pay for the entire set of activities that they asked someone out to. Now, I think that if someone invites themselves, you can't invite somebody else to pay for you. I think you can't invite somebody to, like, hey, let's go do this, and then expect them to pay. So I think that's a really simple way to understand it. You invite, you're expected to pay. Sometimes people offer to chip in because they want to show that they're interested or they appreciate you and show that you're not used. However, that doesn't mean that you always take them up on it, but the gesture is the most important thing I think that is displayed. Once in a while, I think things will play themselves out where eventually we'll see like people chipping in, but from the very beginning, I think it's important that we don't miss out on dating opportunities because people get the wrong impression, and the wrong impression would be that you're 1, not interested, 2, using them, or 3, not appreciative. So let's get into it. I've got 5 reasons why you should, as ladies, consider splitting dating costs. The very first reason I have is it's 2018, so keep up with the times. We obviously are living in a time where there's been much progress for women in the past 100 years. A lot, right? So workplace, at home, it's very different. Even, even in the dating world, things are very different, right? So why are we holding on to this belief that, women never pay? I think that's very old-fashioned, and yes, I do see this, this mindset coming more from my older women who are very uncomfortable. I mean, I get it. That's how you're raised. That's what you grew up with. That's what you thought is normal. But we're living in 2018, so we need to act like it. In 2018, it shouldn't be. I mean, honestly, I'll go out on a limb and just put it out there. It shouldn't be a woman always, getting a free ride. There are no free rides. We know everything that, everything has a cost. So, I mean, if you think something is free, it's not. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think we need to behave as if it's 2018 and not selectively decide when it's 2018 and when it's 1950. So I think we need to not try and jump back and forth when it suits us because you don't want to pay or you're uncomfortable. I think that, yes, it's asking a bit much for everyone to be like, well, it's 2018, everything should be equal. I could shout that as loud as I want. Doesn't mean that will impact our reality. Our reality is that no, in most cases, men are expected to pay. Men are still expected to ask the woman out. I get that. We're not changing that entirely. It's not going to be 50-50 anytime soon. But, we can talk about it because it's important, okay? So we want to expand everyone's perspective, but understand, I know that we are not advocating because it's not going to happen where women are all of a sudden asking men out just like men are asking women out equally or offering to pay equally. It's not going to happen. But yeah, I do think that we need to act with the times a little bit better, okay? Because we're so rigid as far as 2018. Women, we want these rights for women. Here, it's 2018. And then when it comes to who pays for a date, we can't go back to 1950 like that. Let's meet somewhere in the middle and keep on making progress so that we're both trying to make an effort to understand each other and keep up with the changing times a little bit. I think it's almost disrespectful anyway, for anyone to be okay being taken care of, like that. So a deep discussion there for sure. All right, number 2. The second reason why I want you to consider splitting costs is competition. Dating is so competitive. I need to repeat that. Dating is competitive. So what do you need to understand? You need to understand that there are options like never before. Before the internet, you're just competing with, people in the regular world, whom other people could cross paths with physically, friends of friends, through activities. But now, both men and women have access to a greater dating population. So it's not to say that we have all those options, but we have access to possible options. All right. And with those possible options, you need to understand that there's always both men and women looking for the bigger, better deal. All right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's natural. I think we did it in person before the internet, always looking for the bigger, better deal. And now that we have the online dating, we just have even more access. So we have even more powers for as seeking the bigger, better deal. All things being equal, if there's you and you're equally attractive and carry the same level of satisfaction from somebody enjoying their time with you, whether because your personality, your intelligence, your insight, your humor, whatever it is, assume there's somebody who is exactly like you. So you two are exact equals, except you don't believe in paying for any dates. The other person has a little bit more progressive stance on that and is okay with chipping in, helping with the tip. Once in a while, when they invite somebody, they're like, let me take care of this. I got this. So imagine, ladies, that you're competing with that, and you have this rigid stance of I never pay. Who do you think the guy is gonna go for more? All right. I think if we play that out, the odds will go for the guy is going to pay more attention to the woman who offers to pay. Not all the time, but once in a while. It's a little bit more of a I'm participating sort of deal, whereas you're like, that's for you. You pay, you get to enjoy my presence for that pleasure, for that cost. Competitive-wise, you're going to lose quite a bit, and you can say that it's one of your values. You can say it's the way you're brought up, but if a strategy is causing you to lose, causing you pain, causing you less dating satisfaction, maybe it's time to reassess that strategy. All right. A third reason why I think it's important for women to consider splitting dating costs is because it removes expectations. All right. It's not fair, that there are expectations, but it comes up whether, in so many situations, and we want to avoid it. We want to avoid a man thinking that he owns you or has any claim to anything in the future from you because he paid for a meal, paid for a date, or paid for dates. All right. There's a real danger in letting people do things for you, period. Whether it's dating or anything, then there's nothing in life for free. Like everything comes at a cost. And if you let somebody always pay for you, there's something that you're giving up. It might be your choice. It might be a little bit of your freedom. It might be an expectation that you're going to have to, that one day you're going to have to, fulfill, what you owe, and then, like you basically, maybe you're going to owe him sex at some point, sooner or later, And what I view that as is, I view that as an extremely dangerous transactional relationship. If we call it prostitution, that would probably be a step too far, but I think a transactional relationship is a lot more appropriate. I don't think that it's appropriate, even in 2018, to view yourself as being so amazing that somebody has to pay for your time. I don't think this plays itself out very well long term as a long-term strategy. I don't think having someone pay for the honor of your presence, I don't think that's a very good way to think about it long term. I think it's going to do more damage in the long term. I think you miss out on opportunities. I also think it leads to issues, because the last thing that women want is a guy having an expectation. But when you allow him to pay for everything every time, even a great guy is going to expect that this is going somewhere. It's going to pay off. And what are you women really wanting to avoid? Like you want to avoid any man thinking that you owe him sex. All right. I get that, but you can't have it both ways here. All right. If you want someone to take care of you all the time, it's not for free. And I just speak from a reality. I'm not speaking as if I think it's okay that a guy will have an expectation. I think it's your body. I think it's your choice. I think you should also, however, carry yourself and conduct yourself in a manner that doesn't misrepresent yourself or put yourself in a tough position. And I'm asking you to have some understanding for men. Imagine if you're always, you know, it's hard not to have these expectations when a guy is paying for everything and you're allowing him to. I think it sets a dangerous precedent, and I would want you to avoid that sort of complexity because it's unnecessary. All right. I think a guy will pay for, you know, if that's the dynamic of the guy pays a lot, he can pay for a lot of the dates and the dating activities. That's fine if that's the dynamic that's in play. But I think if the dynamic in play is that the man 100% pays for everything, I think that can be a dangerous dating dynamic. And my fear is that it becomes a transactional relationship. I paid for this, therefore you owe me that. I pay this, I bought this, I pay this, I get this. So I don't want you to be in that position. So that is one of the most, that's a huge reason. And I think you can see where that kind of lends itself to some gray areas that are very tough to deal with. And I think you want to avoid that issue. All right. The fourth reason why I want you to consider splitting dating costs is because it's going to lead to more dates. Wow. Well, obviously, there's the financial aspect where if a guy's spending less money, he can afford to take you out more often, right? And that makes sense. But then there's also the aspect that we need to consider of if you're offering to pay for a date entirely, a little bit, a portion, something fair, or just, you know, saying that you'd like to chip in, even if he turns you down. Through that, you know, the guy is seeing the things that he needs to, you know, so beyond the fact that he can afford to take you out more often, he's going to realize because of your actions that you're interested in him, that you are trying to invest in him, that you would financially invest in spending time with him, because that's what you're doing. You're financially investing in spending time with him when you offer to buy a drink, when you want to buy him dinner, when you want to take him to the movies. You know, anytime you go to the movies and he buys the tickets and you say, "Here, let's go get some popcorn. What do you want? I've got this." You're investing in that time with him. And so those are the two ways to me that you're going to get more dates. When you're chipping in or offering to or splitting costs, what you're doing is you're obviously allowing him to have more of that freedom financially to possibly ask you out on more dates and see you more, or you're just gonna because the action shows that you're interested in him, and you know, he enjoys that, and he feels that he's not wasting his money with you, that you appreciate it, that you enjoy his time, that you see him for more than just a bank account or an ATM card, that if he feels that, he'll still want to go out with you more. So I think that's encouraging. What's the biggest thing that you want? Do you want the relationship, or do you want to make sure that you never open your purse? Some different things to consider. Now, speaking of things to consider, I would like you to consider, how much do you actually like this person? You know, how much are you attracted to this person? How much are you connecting with this person? Because I think that matters. I've kind of alluded to it a little bit already, but if you like a guy, what do you want to do? You want to see him more. So what do you think makes him want to see you more? If you just never offer to pay for a date or any aspect of a date, or, you know, would he be more inclined to want to see you more if you just made a gesture, you know, of hey, can I cover the tip? You know, can I cover the tip, you know, for this dinner? Hey, it's been a long day. I want to grab a drink after work. Why don't you join me? First round's on me. You know, hey, let's go get ice cream. I want to take you out to this ice cream spot that I absolutely love. You know, like, it's okay. You know, like, if you like a guy, I think you should be investing in him as well, because what's important to understand is, if you don't like a guy, you will set things up so that if you lose him, whatever. But when you like a guy, you try and let him know that, right? And one way that you can try and let him know that you're into him is by offering to that gesture to pay something. Or, just saying that it's out there. Even if he doesn't take you up, he doesn't have to take you up on it. Okay? Sometimes he will. And when he does, it's not a big deal because you put it out there because you meant it. But if you like him, you have to behave differently. There's something that comes up, and this is something that people don't understand, but the most successful people I know with dating and connecting with other men and women, they have a much higher rate of the people who are dating them, whether it's the first date or, into their dating. They have people that they're dating who will volunteer and request and make these gestures of, hey, even when they're inviting, when these people are inviting them out, they still have other people saying, hey, can I cover a little bit of this? Hey, can I cover the tip? Hey, can I take you out to this? Why? And the reason is really simple. It's because these men and women have been representing themselves, and their perceived desirability is so high that people who don't even usually offer to pay, they're making that gesture because they know what that gesture means. When they meet somebody that is that awesome, they don't want to screw it up. They want more. So what do? They want to make sure that that other person does it. And with this gesture, you are indicating, I value you. And with that value comes an appreciation. And that is happening to people, honestly, who have more game. And I want you to understand, it's not a slight on anybody, but I'm telling you that this is how it plays out. The men and women who have more game, when they go out on dates, they're having other people offer to chip in way more often. And I can tell you it's because they're offering a really great dating experience. They're great people and they know how to represent themselves. They're a great date. I mean, there's not, just because it doesn't mean that, if you don't have much dating game that you're a bad person or a bad date. But imagine, how much greater you could be if you weren't nervous. Imagine how much greater you could be if you understood body language, if you understood the cues about their interest, about how to develop rapport faster. There are people with, the more advanced their skill is with game and attraction, the more valuable they are as someone for other people to date, because the experience is so much better. And better is relative, but what I'm saying is these people are offering an experience because they have a certain skill that allows them to be perceived as very, very valuable and desirable. So that's definitely happening. People are seeing and going out with these people, and because they like them, they're displaying these gestures. So it tells me that when people, really value the other person and the experience of dating them, that they'll go out of their way, even if it means, saying like, hey, can I offer to chip in on this? They'll do something, even if that's not something that they've done with other people. They'll do it for that person. Imagine if you are, who is your crush? Brad Pitt, Beyonce, name, insert pretty girl, insert handsome guy, whatever. Imagine they asked you out on a date. They take you to dinner. You have an outstanding time. You're absolutely smitten with them. You're blown away. You have you're just like sitting there and you're just soaking it in. Like, this is the most amazing date I've had since forever. Guess what? What would you do? When the bill comes, what would you do? Would you just look at it and not even look at it, just pretend like it didn't exist and just sit back with expectation, like, yeah, take care of that? I don't think you would. I think what you would do is you would see that bill come, you see it get placed on the table, and you would say, can I cover, that was a great dinner. Can I cover the tip? Or let's go get, when we go grab drinks, I'm gonna grab the first round, okay? First round's on me. You would absolutely do that for your crush, who is absolutely just perfect in person, right? That's what it would be like if you went out on a date with somebody whom you're really interested in, where things are clicking. You want them to know how much you appreciate them, and you don't want them to misconstrue anything about you. You don't want them to think that you're using them for a big meal or an expensive meal or whatever. You're going to make a gesture because you want them to know that you appreciate them beyond just the money, right? So there it is. All you have to do is put yourself in that situation with your dream date going fantastic, and then the bill comes. All right. I think that if you didn't make a gesture, you aren't necessarily displaying some concern. And I think this is something that has to play itself out whenever two people begin dating. But I think it's also just an amazing opportunity for two people to figure out, like, hey, how can we do this without being awkward? You know, we could fight over the bill. Or I could be awkward and say, I've got to pay because I don't want to owe you anything. And the guy's like, what the hell you talking about? Like, now you're talking about, like, you're almost like assuming like this guy is expecting sex because he paid for dinner. You totally jumping the gun, acting weird, super awkward. So I think what's important is mostly just how you handle it. Okay, we want to handle it nice and smooth. Maybe like we don't like, maybe we don't necessarily like come in for the landing nice and smooth like this as far as how to pay for the date, but you know, if it can not be this rocky, we're way off, and maybe something where we're just like calibrating, and then we kind of slowly find our way into that situation. I think that's much more feasible. So consider that, and I want you to understand those were 5 reasons why you should absolutely consider splitting dating costs, women. I think you have to think long-term, big picture. What is your goal? I think you'll be pleasantly rewarded when you show men that you are interested in much more than their bank account. And sometimes it just requires a gesture that doesn't necessarily even need to be accepted for you to reap the benefits. And it's just important for people to figure out this whole financial thing sooner than later. Don't make it awkward. If you don't make it awkward from the beginning, it won't be awkward later when you do get to the point where a little balance needs to occur with people chipping in with the dating. All right? Take care. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated the content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you believe that learning about better strategies for life and love is advantageous, I invite you to join Get Game Group. Membership is free, open to men and women, offers weekly game video lessons, and a weekly mailbag for member submissions. Click the link in the description to join.